All right, so welcome everybody. We have Rich on our computer here and Julie with 11 Marketing. Rich is with WHMI. We're going to be talking a little bit today about the Member Marketing Advantage program and what you can expect to receive from the program and why it is a great opportunity for members to participate. So we have Andy Dobick with us here today too, and he is a current participant in the program that wanted to come and learn about the differences and some new changes that we've made to adjust in 2022. And I'll let Julie and Rich kind of introduce yourselves, and then you guys can take it from here.
So I'm Julie Hill-Lynn with 11 Marketing and Consulting, and I'm also an ambassador for the Chamber, and I helped Janelle and Diane put together this program last year, and it's a very smart strategic package that I'm excited to share with you. So that's the role I play in this, is I help with the social media, some of the strategy behind this campaign.
Awesome. And Rich?
Hi everybody, my name is Rich Renko. I'm the General Sales Manager for WHMI, and obviously, this is year 2, for us. And Jules, do you want me to jump into the WHMI element?
That would be great. Yep.
Okay. So year 2, and I kind of, the first meeting that we had, this is really the start. This whole thing really began with a conversation between Janelle and myself. My gosh, Janelle, a year and a half ago, to try to figure out if there was a platform that WHMI, at least as it pertains to our part of this, could create that would give the Chamber a voice to kind of tell what is going on, in our community, or the community, what's going on in Howell. This thing started as an idea and has now grown into a program that our audience looks for on a week-to-week basis, and that's really the Howell Business Beat, which is a really unique offering by the Chamber to invite local businesses and owners of those businesses on a weekly program that's dedicated to really all things that are local. Businesses such as yours are invited to join Janelle, really to discuss your business. And look, that conversation, that really becomes a conversation between you and Janelle on what's happening in your 4 walls, and whether it's new products, new location, new recruitment, a grand opening, or simply to discuss what's going on in the world of local businesses. The value part of this is quite substantial to you, quite frankly, compared to the investment that's being asked. From the WHMI portion of this, look, our part of this is really the specific part of that half-hour program that we have opened up and blocked on Sunday mornings for the Chamber to have and to invite you in to discuss your business. So we produce this on a week-to-week basis, and then obviously the audience is invited to listen to it on Sunday mornings. But it's also then taken and we posted up on our podcast platform on WHMI.com, and a lot of people understand the strength of WHMI as a radio station to our community, because we are the voice of that, right? We provide that news and information and topical information that people have a hunger for. But our website is an absolute behemoth. In 2021, we averaged just about 8.4 million page views over the course of the year. And that allows us, and if you listen to the radio station, you hear us in almost every single hour of every day, 365 days a year, driving our audience to WHMI.com. And on our homepage, there's an area on our podcast platform for people to simply click on that podcast platform and go to the array of podcasts that we are offering on a week-to-week basis. So we promote the Howell Business Beat every single week, a minimum of 15 times. That Janelle does it in her voice. So on that day that she records your show with her, she then promotes or produces a promotional element that airs on WHMI to say, hey, this is Janelle Best of the Howell Business Beat, and this week, tune in when I talk to, and she'll mention your name and your client and your business, and that runs enticing people to listen live on Sunday morning, or go to WHMI.com and listen to it on our podcast platform. The marketplace with for a 15-second ad is approximately $30. So you get 15 of those with the chamber just to promote the show for that week. It's $450 value back on that. So between, like I say, also too, that, think of it from the reach aspect. When that show airs on the radio station or promotes you being on the radio station that Sunday morning, the one thing is that even though that we are, if this is a Howell-centric type conversation, and primarily Livingston County, the WHMI signal goes as far west as Okemos, as far east as Wixom, as north to Grand Blanc, and as south to the tip of Ann Arbor. So your message and your communication back to all of that audience that is obviously important to you in your backyard. If you've got a potential customer base that you want to talk to or to invite them into your business, or at least inform them of what you're doing, it allows you to do that as well. So the show itself is a dynamite show. We get so many people that call us and email us on thanking us for creating a platform for the chamber to kind of get a message out. And like I say, it's been a pleasure being able to do that. And for us, it's about content. And it's Janelle looks to have that solid content that comes from you, the business owner. She'll explain kind of how she builds that show and how that becomes a conversation with you. But it's certainly a unique offering because you couldn't call me individually and ask to buy this and do this on a week-to-week basis. It just simply wouldn't be offered to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rich, for sharing. We had some individuals join us just a couple of minutes after you started, and I was just wondering if you guys could introduce yourselves real quick.
Well, Todd and I have met Rich before. I'm Nancy Keenan, this is my husband Todd, and we own a business in Fowlerville, MIEV Writers.
Okay.
And
But we're joined right now as part of Lights
Lights
Plus.
Plus, yes.
Perfect.
But we've got a
Yeah.
separate business that we're going to have a separate discussion on here. After,
right.
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, also, I'm glad you guys could join us today. I'm Janelle Vest. I'm president of the chamber.
Nice to meet you.
And then if you guys just want to introduce yourselves real quick.
Diane, the Samples, the development director. Yep, you're right, you're ribbon cutting.
I'm Andy Dobeck. I own the Auto Lab in Howell on Grand River.
And I'm Julie. I own 11 Marketing Consulting, and I'm an ambassador for the chamber. And I've also helped with putting this together with strategy and some other assets.
And I'm Ward Mullins. I'm the Sales, Marketing, and Communications Manager for the Chamber. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all.
All right. So yeah, Rich, thank you for sharing on the radio portion of this, and I will just share kind of from my perspective that is with the Member Marketing Advantage program, it comes with 2 radio spots that are roughly 10 to 13 minutes of radio airtime, and this is a really unique opportunity because it truly doesn't really exist individually outside of this program. Not only that, it's just a really good opportunity to share a little bit about who you are. It's getting to know the person behind the business, sharing that story, why you're passionate about it, and we make it really easy. So what we'll do is I'll email you some upcoming dates, times, availabilities. We usually record every week. Typically we're in the studio. And we do recordings on Mondays usually. It just makes it easy, but we can also work around your schedule and the studio schedule. And what I'll do is I'll ask you to provide about 5 talking points for your business. So that, nobody knows your business better than you. And you're going to be able to highlight things that mean the most or you feel will be most impactful so you can utilize the spot in the most meaningful way. But the other piece of this is, kind of a typical layout. It looks as though like we'll do an introduction. So I'll ask for you to share a little bit about yourself on more of a personal level, share your career pathway, your background. And it's just a nice storytelling component, and it really is conversational. It's not that typical Q&A. There might be something that comes up in conversation that piques my interest that we'll kind of dovetail into that for a little bit. Your 13 minutes goes by incredibly quick. Some people say, wow, 13 minutes is a really long time, and they get intimidated by that.
Sure.
I would encourage you not to, because it really is just a casual conversation of me getting to know you and sharing that information with our community. Another great opportunity about this is you can share civic, like your civic engagement. And that goes so far, especially when we're looking at radio and what Livingston and what WHMI's reach is, because it's really right here in Livingston County, and I mean it goes beyond that, but the majority of listeners, it's really important to them to hear about that civic engagement piece. So so those are the things that I'll kind of mention. I will say that people have utilized this spot in multiple ways. So they've used it for recruitment. We've had testimonials. So they've actually brought in employees that have worked for their company for several years that had wonderful things to say about why they want to work there, why they love working there, why somebody else would want to work there. And then we also have had individuals, I'll speak to Turner Design Group, Tricia Turner. She does landscape design. So when she came in to do her spot, she brought in all sorts of plants, and that was in the background because this is videotaped as well. So you're going to receive several components just with this one spot. So you'll have the video, the audio recording, you'll get the actual digital file. It'll get uploaded on our YouTube. It goes out on our Chamber Advantage. It goes out on our Facebook page. So it's not just like it's a one-time spot. And then we reuse those. So maybe we did one, let's say, for instance, we would record at the end of this month.
Right.
Well, that information is likely going to still be relevant in 6 months. So we'll plug it in Chamber Advantage again. We'll do another hit up on social media. And once it's on our YouTube, it lives there, it stays there. So if people that are visiting our YouTube channel or maybe watching some other content that we've done, it's going to draw them back in to see, oh, what else has been going on. And I will say that people tune in, people listen, people call here and say, hey, I heard you talking to so-and-so on the radio, and it's exciting to hear that. It's fun, and it always catches me a little off guard, but so those are kind of the tidbits that I would add to this, and I don't know if I'm missing any. I try to take notes of what I said in the first one.
Well, I think one key component that I took away from the first session is that it's you actually get the graphic file of the video and the recording, so that you can go in and edit that. So, I mean, granted, it is a 13-minute piece, but if you wanted to edit out maybe just short little, 30-second snippets that you might want to put into other marketing campaigns that you have, or, maybe, put a voice to a different ad or something like that, you can kind of chop it up and, repaste it however you need to do that. So you can kind of create multiple ads out of that one recording. And then Rich, maybe you can talk a little bit about where on WHMI the recordings live.
So, as this is produced, and again, we can send, anybody an MP3 that you want for your own file. We immediately post it on that Monday morning after the show airs on Sunday to our podcast platform. And again, that is, you're promoted throughout that week to listen to it on the station on that Sunday morning. But then it's also reminded you at the end of that is that you can tune in at any time that you want. That's always what's interesting on the podcasting side, because it allows the consumer to actually consume it when and where they want. Whether they want to, put it up in their vehicle as they're driving, whether they're sitting at a coffee shop and want to listen to it, sitting at home, a vacation home. And that's the beauty part, is it doesn't matter where you are in the world, as long as you have access to WHMI.com, you can listen to that podcast any place, sitting on a beach, sitting on a chairlift. That's the beauty part of the podcasting, because it stays and it lives, basically lives forever for you.
I had a couple additions to that. So one of the things, I did some math earlier today when we were talking about this, and you get 2 of these 10 to 13-minute videos, which if you're buying radio, you buy 30-second spots typically. That equates to 40 to 50 to 30-second spots if you were going to buy those. That's the amount of time we're talking here. if you were to call Rich and say, Rich, I want to buy 52 30-second spots, it's probably going to cost you more than this entire campaign, just for that alone. And you're going to get all these other pieces and assets to the program. So I wanted to point out that the value in that is phenomenal. Also, the power of video. So videos typically have a success rate of 4 times greater than a static ad. Now, static ads are great, they're wonderful, but video is a very powerful tool. And this lives in multiple places. So whether they're on the chamber website or their Facebook page or on WHMI's page or your own social media, because you're gonna own this, it's gonna live in multiple places. So they have the opportunity to find you and see it in multiple places. So that, and then also Rich has offered up an a la carte option. It's a discounted donut ad. Rich, do you wanna touch on that?
So yeah, what we end up doing too is we've offered back to the chamber is we call as a donut type campaign. There's a specific open that is chamber centric. Now for your chamber moment or chamber community moment, brought to you by, and then allows you to do a brand, a call to action, grand opening, recruitment, whatever that might be, and then the chambers on the back end of it. So it tries to keep a cohesive message back of what we're doing on Sunday mornings and throughout the week with the chamber, and then for those who participate and then want to add on an element to promote either a specific entity or have a specific message, it still keeps it centric to the relationship that WHMI has with the Chamber of Commerce.
And those are completely customizable and only accessible to members participating in the program.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I just pulled up also, so on the Facebook page, there was one Julie Smith did from Work Skills recently that was posted January 7th, and it's exactly what we're talking about, this video. And the reach on that was 1,063 people. So it reached 1,063 people by posting just on the Facebook page. That's not counting how it's viewed in other places. And then I had 219 engagements, which means people actually clicked on it, looked at it, did something with it. And so that's, those are phenomenal numbers for just posting the video. So I think it's just fantastic that it's taped and put into these formats.
Do you guys have any questions on the radio portion? Andy, you've done it. Do you have anything to add?
I could just say, like you said, it's a very smooth process. And so my first time, obviously, I was a little nervous too, because, I had not done this. But yeah, like you said, it clicks off. It's pretty quick. You're like, oh, wow, that's over already?
Mm-hmm.
Again, and it's very smooth. It's like, I don't know, it's like sitting in this room and we're having a conversation.
Sure.
And, and you're talking about something you love anyway or something you do. So it just...
Well, and one fun thing that, this is my favorite part about it, is just really, I get to learn a lot about who you guys are and members. And so through my conversations with Andy, it was really cool to find out that, he is truly passionate about cars. And so I learned a lot about it's a hobby for you. It's not just your, what
it's
you do.
It's a lifestyle for me.
It is. It
really is.
Absolutely. And that just shines through when you're on the show. And it's memorable because I remember, honestly, something about every one of these that I do. And it's funny because you never really know what's going to come out when you're doing it, but things that are really special shine through, and it sticks with people.
Yeah. And I think that's what is unique about radio, is that you can't hear that passion in someone's voice through an ad. No matter how creative the ad is, you can't get that sense of, oh wow, like you said, this is true, this man lives, breathes it, this isn't just a job that he goes to 9 to 5 and then he checks out. This is what he loves to do. and how lucky to be able to do what you love to do, and
Never work a day in your life, right?
Exactly. Well, and that's the type of person that I want to go and do business with, because I know that they are, going to take really good care of my vehicle, because they have a super appreciation for it that maybe someone else doesn't have, that's just like checking in and like, oh, here's one more thing I have to get done before I leave at 5. So I think that is just that true conversation where it's really, you can speak to the culture of your business, and people can find out who you are, and it makes them feel special, because when they walk in and they're like, oh, I know Andy, he's the owner. So I think people just like to have that connection.
Absolutely.
I agree, and I was just gonna add to that, she kind of led me right into it, is how that power of video creates relationships instantaneously. So they feel like they know you, or they could know you, just by seeing you.
Yeah.
That it's that
Grabbing that connection.
It's that connection right away, and it's, for them it's a warm introduction.
Yeah.
And so, like Diane said, when they walk in and they see you as a business owner, you're in there, or you're, wherever you might be, they feel like they know you and they want to do business with you. And there's something really special about that. Especially these days, it feels like more and more people want to shop local, do business local. They're really going out of their way to do business with local people.
Absolutely.
So.
All right. Well, why don't you
Okay.
take over on the social media side?
Okay, social media. Love it or hate it, you have to be in it. Fortunately, I love it. I love it because I see the power of social media. 80% of people are on some platform every single day. It's powerful, and if used correctly, it can be very impactful for your business. There's a lot of strategy involved in social media. People don't realize in the back end how things work. There's ranking systems, there's algorithms, and if you don't follow all these things, these platforms will not show your ads. Even if you had 1,000 followers, they won't show them to them. So fortunately, I do understand all that. I know how to execute a social media buy effectively, with strategy, with a targeted audience. With the social media, we've found a sweet spot that speaks to pretty much most businesses, and that's going to be your 25 to 64-year-olds in this geographic area, so kind of the Livingston County area, with a household income of $75,000 and up. Both men and women equal, and that's going to be where most of our audience lives, in those demographics. So that's where those ads will be delivered. If you live here and work outside the community, not to worry, because you will still be targeted. So if you're in Portland, Oregon, hiking the mountains, you can still be delivered this ad because it knows where you live, which is great, because we do have people who commute in and out of the community. So we're gonna reach them, it doesn't matter, we'll still be reaching them. The ads will be running on Facebook, Instagram, Google and YouTube are the same, so we'll be putting ads there. And then same with Facebook and Instagram, they're one and the same, basically, so the ads would be running there also. Daily reach ranges from 2.3 thousand to 6.5 thousand people in Livingston County, and your ads will be rotating equally. So everybody's gonna get the same amount of ads rotated. I will work directly with you to create that ad unless you have one already done that you really want to use. So I work with you on same types of things that Janelle might even ask you. I might ask you, what's important to your business? What's special about your business? What's unique? And then we'll create a static ad based on that will run and rotate. And it'll also link your website. It'll have to say a little blurb in the ad. And then if at some point you want to change out that ad, it's a $75 fee to change that out. But the first one's free on me. I will create it for you. What else?
You get to keep it too.
Oh yes, and you get to keep it. So all of these assets you get to keep, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Andy?
Oh, it is though.
And the nice thing too is that each platform is separate, so you can have two separate messages going out at the same time. So, if you wanted to take advantage of the radio to really speak to, the culture of your business and, how you align within the community and, just what's important to you and even why you went into business and why you do what you do. And then on the social media side, maybe you want to highlight more of your product and services, or vice versa. However you want to do that, you can do that. It doesn't have to be a cohesive message across all platforms.
Sure.
You can kind of divide it up. And the nice thing is too, is with that a la carte pricing is when things change, or if you have special events, or you have something, very specific that you want to promote, it's very cost effective to be able to call up Julie and say, hey, can we do a new ad for this? Or hey, can we get another radio spot for the $225 for that additional 13-minute radio spot to really highlight or promote whatever changes or whatever's going on.
And the other nice thing about social media too is you get analytics.
Right.
So I will provide to you quarterly analytics. If you have a special request and need something, like I know Andy, we sometimes do more frequently for them because they work with the corporate office who is also helping support this campaign, which speaks a lot also when you have a corporation behind you. But these are professionals also looking at these numbers, and so that gives us a lot of validation knowing that they see the value in what we're doing. So yes, we'll provide those to you, which is really nice, so we can see it working.
And Julie, you brought up a really good point in the last session that I never thought of, is because we always get asked about like the tracking and how are we tracking it, which is through the analytics that Julie does, and then how are the businesses themselves tracking it. And I've always been a big proponent for, well, are you asking them where the business came from? And Julie brought it up that, people may see your ad 10 different places. Yet when you ask them that question, they're gonna throw out just one. Like, oh yeah, I saw it in the newspaper, or oh yes, I saw it on this ad. Discounting all of the other places that they saw it. So that's not always an accurate representation of the tracking, which again, I never step back to think about because I'm guilty of that too. I usually, if I'm put on the spot with that question, I can't even think of where I saw it. I just know that I saw it somewhere. So that's the other point, is that this is on multiple platforms, so people are seeing it, and we do get those phone calls of people like, hey, I saw this ad here, and I saw this here, and how do we get to do this? So they definitely are across multiple platforms on a continuous basis throughout that 12-month period.
Right, and that's important too. That daily repetition of these ads running is really important because it affects the algorithms within these social media platforms. So that's why that daily repetition, and in social media in general, you need to be posting every single day if you want to be a part of a successful campaign.
We have to keep them engaged.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, and speaking of engagement, I think that's really key too, is these ads that are going, people are engaging with them. So that's really unique. And I again, as Julie mentioned, that they're co-branded with the Howell Chamber, which gives it that really nice community piece, and connects it back to that shop local, support local, do business local.
I know, like when I'm on social media and I see the ads on even my social media, like I share them. It's a chamber post, really, is how it kind of looks. It's just a chamber ad, and you'll see it's your company, and you're like, oh wow, that's cool. So I share it on my personal social media as well as the company social media, and then that touches even more people every time I touch it, and then people that know me that are on my social medias also, because they care, share it or like it, or every time they touch it, then it every time somebody touches it, it gets bigger and bigger. So it's like, that stuff really helps. I know we track every customer that comes in for the first time. We track, hey, how'd you hear about AutoLab? And so we have a report for everything on that, and then the analytics we get from Julie certainly helps. Our numbers have been very good with the social media and with the radio. So, you know, we're in 100%. I love this program. I'm here to see the differences and changes because we're gonna definitely keep doing it.
Awesome.
Thank
If
you.
Thanks.
you don't mind, how long have you been in?
So 1 year, next month will be 1 year, and so that's I feel like we've had really good numbers the whole time, and I've seen the business grow as well. So
Okay.
it helps to be really involved in a lot of the programs.
Sure.
We try to do as much as we can, honestly, with the chamber and other local businesses, and
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's such a key thing in promoting your
For sure.
business.
And we talked a little bit about that too. The program is also an opportunity to promote your civic engagement and support for the community, and a community that you support is going to support you.
And, you know, if I could say, what the Howell Chamber has put together is so thought out and strategic, and it's a member benefit that I've never seen. On parts of different chambers, I've never seen something like this being offered. It's very forward thinking, and you wouldn't be able to have this opportunity to buy this on your own.
Not at this price.
No. Not at this price.
Like you can do it, but
Yeah,
it's
just
one, a
ask
lot more
Rich.
work, a lot more work on your part, and then two, the expense is gonna be. And
Yeah.
we've done. Before this program, we did stuff with WHMI. It wasn't cheap, so this is a good opportunity, I think, to
Mhm.
get into a lot of different areas.
And the other thing is when you're looking at, I find with business owners that I work with, a lot of them don't know what their marketing budget is. They don't even know how much their marketing budget should be. There's a general rule of 5% or 2 to 5% of your gross sales, and a lot of people don't even spend near that. But if you want to be successful in promoting your business, you really need to have a marketing plan, a strategy, and a budget for it. And the cost on this is only $149 a month. I mean, it's so inexpensive. The value is there. We typically over-deliver from what Janelle was saying about showing your video more than once. I know my analytics, typically they over-deliver. And so for $149 a month, I mean, I don't know, how many Starbucks is that? You know what I mean? And that's probably what I spend in a month. And so it's set up where you can pay that upfront, or you can pay it in monthly installments, where it's just deducted out every single month. So whether you can afford to do it upfront or not, it doesn't matter, because we're making this very accessible for you and very easy for you. But again, when you're looking at an advertising campaign, it'd be very hard to find something like this. Well, you would, let's just be real, you wouldn't be able to find anything like this for $149 a month. So, as a member, thank you, because I appreciate it.
Thanks, Julie. And
Yeah.
I'll piggyback off that a little bit, because a couple things I wanted to mention that we didn't get to talk about yet were there are a la carte options. Now, these are just additional opportunities for you to amplify what's already happening that are specific to this program. So you have to participate in the program to receive those extra a la carte items where they're not offered just to anybody. So that includes like the donut ad that we talked about a little bit, but you can have the opportunity to purchase an additional radio spot for a very nominal fee. You can work with Rich directly on amplifying your message, and Julie as well. So they can both work with you on kind of amplifying that too, depending on what meets your goals and needs. And then as far as thinking back on like the strategic component of this as what we were all thinking when we wanted to work together to design this program is really we wanted an opportunity, as Rich mentioned, to highlight businesses and the community. And but additionally really give our members an opportunity to have a voice and a platform in a time where we really were struggling to meet in person, to hold networking events. I know some of that's coming back, but this is still a tremendous opportunity as we look at shifting where we're putting and spending our advertising dollars. If our community guide is something that we can't provide analytics on. So we wanted to shift to something that was a little more concrete and had a little more data to support it, and was going to be more valuable to our members. So really thinking member first in this program and looking to provide something that is affordable so everybody can access it as well.
And this whole program came from feedback that we received from our members. Back in 2020, we created the Path Forward task force. At that time, it's now become a regular committee of the chamber. But we held focus groups, and we kind of we did it by industry. So we had 9 separate industries, and we had probably about 10 to 12 people. And these were members, community stakeholders, even some non-members that we had join us and really give us some honest feedback as to, at that time we were in the thick of COVID, so what the struggles were at that time, but also what they were anticipating as we kind of came out of COVID.
Right.
And marketing was one of the huge things. Is the larger companies were having, they were noticing a disconnect between their national and their global marketing and their more strategic community marketing, and then the smaller companies just didn't have the time. They either didn't have the time, didn't know how much they should focus on it, and they didn't know how to do it, because it was just one of those things that falls to the bottom of the list when you're running a business day to day with 2 people or just a mom and pop type situation. So that's kind of where this came about, is we really had to sit back at that point and say, okay, how can we help across the entire gamut of the membership to really be able to provide them with a solution to this problem, because it was across all industries and all sizes of businesses.
I think that we covered pretty much everything. Just don't have any other notes here.
And I can play that community minute donut ad. We've got that just so you can kind of hear what that is. And then I also have the a la carte pricing. We didn't put that in the presentation, but we do have that a la carte pricing too. I think for Andy, the biggest change that we made was the digital component. So I don't know if you want to maybe speak to that, Janelle.
Yes, so as we were kind of looking and evaluating the program, some of the feedback that we had is that some people really loved the digital component, but others just didn't really see it as a fit for their business. So making this program a little more broad-based, that's going to be a bigger fit for all. And by removing that component, it also makes it more affordable for all. So we were able to reduce that monthly payment instead of doing one lump sum, because we don't have to commit to that 12-month upfront on our end, that we were able to really make it a little more affordable for more people to be able to participate. And the niche of this we've really found is kind of that small to mid-size business, which what's really going to help them and support them right here in the community are these 2 main components.
Sure.
So kind of looking at that, but we still are in contact with our Comcast rep, and she's fabulous and is willing to work with it, because I know that Andy and I know we've had some other people in the program that love that component of it, so are gonna maybe look at working with her outside of this program, and we would be happy to facilitate that conversation and get you started there, because that is also a really great opportunity as well.
Yeah.
However, it just wasn't kind of that one size fits all for this program.
Yeah.
And she will be offering a discount,
Mm-hmm.
so there's that also.
Good, awesome. Yeah, Karen is fabulous.
Do you guys have any questions?
You?
Okay.
No, all
Very
right.
intriguing. This is kind of, I think this is something that will work well for us.
Yeah.
Talk about the ad campaign, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking, it just seems when you're looking at what your marketing spend is, this is incredibly high impact for what the price point is.
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah.
And the opportunity for it to be so fluid and adjustable and just really, you can be very strategic with it, because you can look and say, well, I have these 2 spots to use throughout the year. How do I want to utilize them?
Yeah.
I know I'm going to have a grand opening on this date. Maybe we do it a spot 2 weeks before that. And you know, these can be replayed, because it's all still going to be relevant information, even if it is promoting your grand opening. At least then people still know you're there. I mean, it's just all very adjustable, and it just fits a lot better than your traditional, some of the traditional advertising methods.
Well, everything has changed, as you said. Everything is social media. We were just talking about that with our kids, because someone had asked us if we had a Twitter account, and I said, well, not yet. And our daughter's like, let me do it. It's money. She goes, it's the millennials playground. She's 25, so some of that stuff you just, you don't think about for advertising, like Twitter. I would never have thought Twitter.
Well, and Rich brought up a very good point, and we've noticed this, even though, people are starting to gather more in person, people are much more intentional with their time.
Oh, for sure.
So they may not still be attending as many events or attending as many different opportunities to meet people one-on-one,
Right.
and this program meets them where they're at.
Right,
I mean, if
exactly.
they are out in Colorado hiking and they still want to stay connected, through their business, and so many more people are working remotely, where they are working all over, and they want to be able to connect on their time. Maybe their work time is late at night. A lot of companies, as long as you put your time in and get your work done, you can work whatever hours you want to work. So maybe having something during the day where they're meeting with people isn't going to be beneficial for them. They want to be able to pull it up and say, oh yeah, I'm going to go look at this now, and they're connecting with you on that personal level through the radio. So I think that's really helpful to many businesses to be able to get that message across to people.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. Good point. I'm also
I feel
I'm
so
also
old
the
because
worst.
I'm having to refrain from saying my kids, because they're all up. I have one that's almost 30, which blows my mind. But I see such a shift in the way in their thinking and how they do business,
We do too. We've
and
noticed the same.
it's just they're not gonna go to a networking event, or they're not gonna.
No.
They don't want to meet people, and it's not that they're not social. That's not the point. They're just
Picking
their
and choosing.
time.
Distance.
They want to, they just have other things they want to
And
do
they
with
can
their
pick and
time
choose, yeah.
during the traditional business hours. They'll sit and watch at 3 o'clock in the morning. They may be on their phones
Oh,
doing this,
yeah, for sure.
and that's their time. And this is where they can go to that podcast library and pull it up, and it's still relevant, and they don't feel like they're slighted or that they missed anything by not having that, that in-person contact.
Well, yeah, it's nice to be able to pick and choose when and where you want to stay connected, and what you want to
I
involve
just
your
feel
time
like the
in.
world is moving so fast,
Yeah.
and everything's changing so quickly, and
Sure.
like you said, people they want their information when they want it, not when you want to give it to them.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, and you can't, this is, I think, a great thing where you can't, you're not picking a time,
No.
especially with the social media advertising. It's when I'm scrolling Facebook, that's when it's on there.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
there when you want it to be
So,
there. When you,
or if you're on Instagram, that's when the ad's popping up. So,
for
I
sure.
think you're gonna catch a more broad audience than you would, time specific,
Oh, yeah.
especially with the radio being a podcast. It's recorded, it's on there. I know, like for me, I'm not trying to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday.
No.
So
We aren't either.
We're not either, Andy.
We're
be
not
honest,
listening to it at 6:30 a.m. either.
I'm not watching the show, but the fact that I can go back, and I've seen most of them, I watch them
Sure.
too, and it's like,
Well, it's
I
funny.
think it's convenient. People love the convenience of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what's so important too. I think it is very convenient, and as Rich stated, it's all about the content, and people will listen, and they do listen. But it is funny because those are the calls that shock me the most. Is that I listen to you every Sunday morning, and you do because
I feel like a lot of that's your fault because you make it so personal.
Oh,
You know?
okay. I'll take the blame.
You're like, what do you mean? But like, you know what I mean? So like having experience, like we did 2 of them already.
Yeah.
And so like both times, again, it was very comfortable to do, easy to do, but also like,
There's
you
a
just
story
know
there.
where to like,
Yeah.
you just know where to take the story, and it was so smooth, and you know, like you said, you get a chance to see a side of people that you may not get to see. And yeah, I think that sparks interest. Like I know most of the people that have done it, fortunately, so it's different for me. But had I not known these people, like, I get an inside peek of like their life a little now, so that I think draws, you know, interest to, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that person did this, or.
It is, and I talked in the morning session a little bit about Trisha because she does landscape design, and so I asked her, how did you get into landscape design? And she did it. She went out and she was working in landscape, hands-on, digging, lifting rocks, all sorts of things day in and day out, and it's just, I would have never looked at Trisha and said, you're a landscaper, you know? But her passion behind all of it just really shined through, and it's something that I'll never forget, and it really, it just dovetailed into so much more to learn about her and why she does what she does, and it is, I think that for me, that's the coolest part about this program, is just meeting people and learning about getting their story and knowing what to do. So I find it very interesting, which makes it easy.
Well, and that shows, like I was saying, it shows in the interview when you guys are talking, because you pick up on certain things when they say it, and then you know, like, oh, let's talk more about that. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, showcases it better.
Well, it is a true conversation.
Right. I think that's the fun of radio, is that it is more conversational. So even though you may have 6 talking points, I mean, sometimes you might only get through 2 because something may just come up organically that even maybe you weren't thinking of delving into, but it just kind of naturally went there, and that's what resonates with people, is it's not like an interview, like back and forth, just question and answer. It's a true conversation that really can go anywhere, and it's easy to, sometimes you do kind of get off track into a different area, but people love that. And I think that's why, even though it's a 13-minute listen, people will listen to it because they're like, oh wow, this is really, I mean, it's interesting and it's fun, you know, and it's kind of, especially, I think it's more fun when you know somebody, because then you're like, oh wow, that's kind of a different side of them that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I'm actually amazed at some of the people that I know that come on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've learned something new.
It's cool. So, it's cool.
Yeah.
I liked it. I love watching the shows too. Honestly, I've seen most of them. I haven't seen them all. I won't lie. I haven't seen them all.
There's a lot.
But there's a bunch. But you know, like I know a bunch of the people, so I'm definitely watching their interview. You know, when I see that person's got one, I'm like, oh, I gotta see that. I gotta, you know, I want to watch it. So.
And it truly is about the community, and that's what I think is truly special. Is that it? You know, going back to the content that Rich was talking about, is Livingston County, and I'm very biased to Howell, but Howell has just a very unique business community. And even, I mean, outside of the business community, just the community in general, they, like Julie said, they really want to support local, and they go out of their way to do it. Even, they did it before COVID, but even more so now, as we're, you know, kind of still a little bit in the COVID arena. And I just think it's people just really like to learn about their neighbors, and it makes them feel good to know that they live in a community that is so special.
And as a consumer, I feel good. I mean, it sounds boastful, but I feel good about myself when I'm supporting somebody local. When I'm bypassing, you know, the big chain store or whoever it might be, it makes me happy to be able to support that person, and I can't be the only one that feels that way.
For sure. I do it on purpose.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people go out of their way these days to support small business or local business, however you want to categorize it. I mean, I think we are in a unique community where Howell is incredibly supportive of its businesses, and when they know, they put a face with a name, and they see that conversation and it's personal, they're more apt to come to your door for business than they are to go somewhere where they're just not going to be known, or where they haven't seen you or experienced your personality, and that's really what it comes across. I mean, radio advertising is great, but it's not the same as having that casual conversation with somebody, getting to know a person for 13 minutes.
Some of my favorite restaurants are local, because that's, I don't know, they have great food, but just like you go there because,
They know your name.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you just go in there knowing that these people are great supporters of our community, and I see the stuff they do in the community, and it's like, yeah, why wouldn't I want some of my dollars going into that guy's pocket who's putting those dollars back into the community?
Right.
And it's, you know, like, so you watch all of the money go right back into your neighborhood, and that's huge for me. So I try to do the same thing. We buy like clothes branded locally. I'll buy everything local and spend more before I'll, just because it's kind
That's
of
what
this
it's about.
community thing, So.
Awesome. Do you guys have anything else? Any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right.
Good.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks everybody for
Thank
tuning in.
you.
Thanks, Rich, for
Thanks,
joining
Rich.
us.
My pleasure.